What's going on, y'all? Today we got 23 Michael Jordan records that will never be broken. Let's get into it, man.
Of The Last Dance, many might feel inspired, motivated, and hungry for greatness and success. 20 plus years since Michael Jordan hit the last shot with the Chicago Bulls, the '98 finals, still the highest rated finals game in NBA history. Throughout the 70 plus years of the National Basketball Association, Jordan is widely regarded as the greatest player all time, his legacy even greater to this day. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. MJ has accomplished things that are out of this world. His greatness and performance speaks for itself. With that said, here are 23 Michael Jordan records that will never be broken. 6-0 in the NBA Finals alongside 6 Finals MVPs. As the leader of the team, the only players to have won more rings with a perfect Finals record: Tom Sanders, Casey Jones, John Havlicek, and Robert Horry, 3 of them with the Boston Celtics. Teammate Scottie Pippen was always the second option under Mike, the undisputed leader and captain of the Bulls teams. Compared to all the other greats, Kobe Bryant went 5-2 in the finals, Tim Duncan 5-1. Having 6 Finals MVPs, the most all time, Jordan was by far the best player. Every one of those series wasn't even a question. Never outscored in the final series, rejected championships to his superstar opponents. A lot of Hall of Famers were prevented from winning because of MJ's dominance. The second most Finals MVPs, currently a 4-way tie between Duncan, LeBron, Magic, and Shaq. 10-time scoring champion, the best scorer in NBA history. It's almost impossible for any player to manage winning this many scoring titles, let alone half of
this is
Jordan's.
ridiculous, bro.
Even some of the top 5
this is ridiculous.
all time.
That's ridiculous. Look at the points, my brothers and sisters. Look at the points. Like, look at the young Jordan points, though. Like, young Jordan was just, like, you know.
Titles, let alone half of Jordan's. Even some of the top 5 scorers all time. Kobe Bryant only has 2, Kevin Durant 4. The only player to come close, Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s, 7 straight seasons. In an era where there wasn't as many teams, Wilt never won a title in any of those seasons. If Jordan wouldn't have retired in his prime, without question, he would have won 12 total. Unless there is a human cheat code, this record will hold forever. The most points per game in NBA history, 30.1, slightly ahead of Wilt Chamberlain, and that's even counting his 2 Wizards years. Just counting his Bulls years alone, 31.5 points. If he decided to fully walk away at 35, Jordan and Wilt are in a class of their own. It's almost impossible for future superstars to sustain a 30-point career average unless they retire in their primes. The only other player besides MJ and Wilt with more than 3 scoring titles, Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, and George Gervin, each with 4. The most points per game in the playoffs. With all his great scoring accomplishments, many teams don't tend to play as hard in the regular season. But Jordan won up his game during winning time, averaged an astonishing 33.4 points postseason. Insanely impressive. In today's free scoring style, players can easily score more points, but reaching Jordan's status, almost impossible. A couple players might average over 30 points in some postseason runs, but doing so 12 of his 13 seasons, making the playoffs, absolutely insane. The only year he didn't average 30 in the playoffs, his rookie season, 29.3 points against the Bucks, going up against 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Sidney Moncrief. The most points per game in an NBA Finals series, 1993, 41 points on 51% shooting, a 4-2 win against the Phoenix Suns. To maintain that level of greatness for consecutive games is unheard of. Many times a superstar might drop 50 in a postseason game, but their next game will be forgotten since it will be nowhere near as high. After a 42-point Game 2 win, Jordan worked his magic, 44 in Game 3, bounced back with 55 in Game 4, followed by 41 in Game 5, destroyed anybody who dared guard him. Whether it was Dan Marley, Richard Dumas, Danny Ainge, it didn't matter. An extraordinary output, drawing an era built on defense. Very unlikely a player will average 40 in a final series, especially winning the finals. Outscoring 269 of his 270 playoff opponents, over 99.6% of them in all his title years or late 80s, whether it was in the first round or the finals. Every series, Jordan dominated and averaged more points than any one of his opponents. Besides his rookie season, where Bucks forward Terry Cummings averaged 29.5 points, just 0.2 points more than Jordan during the 85 first round series. From then on, MJ always got the best of his opponents, even the best scorers that came after him. Shaquille O'Neal was the first option during Kobe's younger years. LeBron even got outscored by Jason Terry in the finals. Kevin Durant's also been outscored a couple series as well. The most MVPs and Finals MVPs trophies combined, 11 total. There's a legit argument Jordan could have easily won 2 or 3 more regular season MVPs. The year Magic Johnson won it in 1990, Charles Barkley in 93, Karl Malone in 97. Jordan just decided to torch 2 of the best power forwards during his era in the finals. The 2 players that comes close is Kareem's 8, having 6 regular season MVPs and 2 finals MVPs. LeBron James, currently 35 years old, has 7 total, 4 regular season MVPs, 3 finals MVPs. The most NBA trophies combined, 22 total. Jordan simply takes care of business on both sides of the floor. There will simply never be another Michael Jordan. 6 titles, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 1 defensive player of the year honor, rookie of the year, and 3-time all-star game MVP. Adds up to 22 trophies. The second most, Bill Russell, 17 total in 13 seasons, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 15, LeBron James 14. The highest career PER, 27.91. Player efficiency rating measures a player's per minute performance, adjusting for pace. So far, the players behind him, LeBron James 27.52, Anthony Davis 27.5. James, at the twilight of his career, likely won't catch up, has a 26 PER in the 2020 season. MJ, the only player to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the scoring title the same season, the 87-88 season. MJ, at the height of his athleticism, the NBA has never seen a player so dominant on both ends of the floor, almost impossible to win a scoring title and Defensive Player of the Year alone in the same season. Hakeem Olajuwon remains the only player to win MVP and DPOY the same year. Although a couple current players have a chance in doing so, none of those would win the scoring title as well. Matter of fact, the last leading scorer to even crack a defensive team during the same season, Dwayne Wade, back in 2009. David Robinson's the only other scoring champion other than Jordan to win the Defensive Player of the Year award, winning it averaging 35 points a game. Nobody else will ever come close. The only player to record 3,000 points, 200 steals, and 100 blocks in a single season, 86-87. Just ignore the points for a minute. The only other player other than Jordan to record 200 steals and 100 blocks, teammate Scottie Pippen, and Rockets Hakeem Olajuwon. Both those guys only did it once. MJ did it twice, also the following year. After the 87 season, no one else reached 3,000 total points in the regular season. The only player to average over 40 points for multiple playoff series. Only 5 players all time put up over 40 in a postseason matchup. The others, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Rick Barry, Bernard King, and the GOAT. All these greats done it just once, while Jordan did it 5 different times. Nobody else since the 93 finals averaged more than 40 for an entire series, bro. Even in today's era. The closest anybody came since, LeBron James 38.5 points against the Magic 2009. I do believe eventually a player will average 40 in a 4-game sweep when hot, but doing so on multiple occasions, only Michael Jordan's capable. Holding the record for most points in the 3-game playoff series, 135 total, MJ averaged 45 points against the Miami Heat in the first round of the 92 playoffs. Since 2003, the opening rounds have gone the best of 7 and not 5, so this record wouldn't be broken. Making 53 shots in the 3-game span, also a record. Scoring 50 plus points in 8 total playoff games, MJ also holds the all-time postseason record for most 40-point games with 38. Even some of the best scorers in Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant each have one postseason game of scoring at least 50 points. Will Chamberlain, the closest to Jordan, has 4 of these games. Once again, MJ's in a league of his own, the only player to score 50 plus in back-to-back playoff games. Doing so in the first round of the 88 postseason matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers, dropped 50 in Game 1, followed by 55 in Game 2. Absolutely unstoppable. In 179 total playoff games, Jordan scored over 15 points every single one of those games. Nobody with that many postseason games have reached double figures every game they played in the playoffs. playoffs. Insanely mind-blowing. To add to his greatness, Jordan only has 6 of these games, failing to reach 20 points, having more playoff games, scoring 50 than less than 20, almost impossible to believe. Jordan holds the all-time finals record for never scoring under 20 points once in the biggest stage, 35 total games. For being in multiple finals, I can see a superstar make 1 or 2 finals, playing between 4 to 14 games to score 20 plus every single one of them. But in 6 appearances, Jordan's lowest output, 22 points, Game 4 of the 97 finals against Utah and Game 6 of the 96 finals against Seattle, 22 being the lowest. LeBron averaged 22 his first finals against San Antonio, scoring 35 points in a half in the finals, still a record against Portland 1992, Game 1, the Shrug game, 6 3-pointers, so much for his lack of 3-point shooting, according to those analytic losers. Having a streak of 632 games without losing 3 straight games, the most by any player between November of 1990 to June of 98. After starting 0-3 to begin the 1991 season, MJ's Bulls would never lose 3 games in a row ever as long as he was in uniform. As we've seen from The Last Dance, his approach to the games in practice, demanding excellence from himself and teammates, it is clear Jordan's allergic to losing. Amazing achievements at 35 years old. Not only did MJ become the oldest scoring champion, 28.7 points, but a champion, Finals MVP, All-Star Game MVP, All-NBA First Team, and Defensive First Team. The last player to ever come close to having all these accomplishments the same season alone, not counting their age. 2000 Shaquille O'Neal, the only box he didn't check being on defensive first team. Shaq made defensive second team that season. In 2020 alone, some believe LeBron's still the best in the NBA, but there's a strong case for others like Giannis and Kawhi. Unlike the other greats, MJ at 35 being on defensive first team, simply unheard of. Nobody at 35 years old will ever come remotely close to Jordan. Second three-peat in the 3-year span, 2 MVPs, 3 championships, 3 finals MVPs, led the league in scoring all 3 years, 3 defensive first teams while missing 0 games. Talk about performing at the highest level, staying true to himself, the fans, and the game the whole time. There's a reason why MJ's appreciation and greatness will always be cherished. To be able to perform and dominate even in his mid-30s is a testament to as perfect a superstar as anyone will get. The term load management does not exist in Jordan's vocabulary. The only player in NBA history to earn more money than his entire team combined. In 1998, Jordan earned $33.1 million in salary, more than his whole team. The cap wasn't as high back then, just at over $61 million. The next highest was Ron Harper and Tony Kukoc, $4.5 mil. Scottie Pippen just $2.7 million. Talk about being underpaid. As much as the players make today, we will never see another player as marketable and dominant as Jordan's earnings during his era.
Yo, that's the numbers say it all. You know what I'm saying? Never say it all. I ain't gonna lie. Never tell the story, man. You know, we gotta pay Jordan. Oh, y'all the niggas, I ain't gonna lie. You ain't gonna have to figure it out, man. I ain't gonna lie. We gotta pay Jordan.
Or over 40
I feel
at
him,
age
though.
40 during his
I
final
feel him.
season
Make sure
with the
Jordan
Wizards,
not
was
going
originally
nowhere.
the oldest player to
Oh, y'all
score
the
over
niggas, you
50
saying
in
we
the
can-
game at
you saying
38
we
years
can-
old, broken by Jamal
we can
Crawford
give
in
another yacht.
2019
We
at
can't give another
39.
Jordan,
It's
man.
clear there will never be another 40-year-old
Word.
as good as Jordan was at that age. Those were 23 records held by the greatest player all time, whose records will remain in the history books forever. Although there were many other Jordan records to never be broken, I only have room for 23 today. What's the craziest Jordan record in your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this.
Shh, that's the end of this one, y'all. 23 Michael Jordan records that will never be broken. If you enjoyed this reaction, make sure you click on that last reaction. Michael Jordan Game 4, the NBA Finals. You know, that boy different. You gotta watch that boy in the game highlight. You know, I'm getting my knowledge up. If you ain't know, if you new here, I get my knowledge up a whole lot, man. So go check that out. And I'm out of here, man.